Good morning, dear students. I am teaching chapter 9 and name of the chapter 9 is the living organisms and their surroundings. The living organisms and their surroundings. Today we will discuss types of organism on the basis of habitat. Today we will discuss about the types of organisms on the basis of habitat. Types of organisms on the basis of habitat. Types of organisms on the basis of habitat. Organisms basically occur either on land or in the water, and when they live on land, habitat is called the terrestrial habitat. When they live on the land, they are called the terrestrial habitats, and when organisms present in water, then they are called the aquatic habitat. And some terrestrial habitats includes deserts, mountain regions and grasslands, and some aquatic habitats, those of oceans, ponds, lakes and rivers. So terrestrial habitat, aquatic habitat, terrestrial habitat, aquatic habitat. So types of plants on the basis of habitat. Now types of plant. Types of plants on the basis of habitat. Types of plants on the basis of habitat. First one is the hydrophytes. First one is the hydrophytes. Hydrophytes. Living in water like lotus, water lily, water hyacinth, water chestnut, singhara, they are called the hydrophytes. Hydrophytes means living in water. Hydrophytes means living in water. Hydrophytes means living in water, like lotus, example lotus, water lily, water hyacinth, water hyacinth, water chestnut, water chestnut, etc. Hydrophytes means living in water, and examples of lotus, water lily, water hyacinth, water chestnut, etc. And now come to the mesophytes. Second one is the mesophytes. Living on land. Mesophytes means living on land. Mesophytes living on land with sufficient water, like most herbs and trees, that is the terrestrial plants. And xerophytes living on land in dry climatic, having scarcity of water, as in the desert like cacti, baboon and bear. So mesophytes living on land with sufficient water. With sufficient water. Mesophytes, xerophytes, living on land with a scarcity of water. Living on land in dry climatic conditions. Types of plants on the basis of habitat. Hydrophytes. Hydrophytes means living in water, and mesophytes means living on land with sufficient water, and xerophytes means living on land in dry climatic conditions. And example of the xerophytic is the cacti, baboon, bear, terrestrial plants, etc. And types of animals on the basis of habitat. So this is the types of plants on the basis of habitat. Hydrophytes living in water, examples lotus, water lily, water hyacinth, etc. Mesophytes living on land with sufficient water, and xerophytes means living on land in dry climatic conditions, like the examples cacti. Now types of animals on the basis of habitat. Types of animals on the basis of habitat. Types of animals on the basis of habitat. Aquatic, living in water like the fish. Aquatic. Living in water, example fish. Aquatic habitat, living in water like fish. Terrestrial, living on land. Like cow. Terrestrial, living on land, example cow. And then aquatic, terrestrial, amphibians. Amphibians living both on land as well as in the water. Living on land, as well as water. Living on land as well as water. And now arboreal. Living on trees. Arboreal, living on trees. Arboreal means living on trees. Example squirrels, monkeys, etc. So according to the types of animals on the basis of habitat, it is first one is the aquatic. Aquatic means animals those who are living in water. Example fish, they are called the aquatic animals. Then terrestrial, living on land. Example cow, lion, tiger, elephant, etc. Amphibians, amphi means both, means living on land as well as in water. They are called the terrestrial habitat. And arboreal, living on trees, example monkeys, squirrel, etc. So now come to the components of a habitat. 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 In a habitat, two types of components occur. In a habitat, two types of components occur, and living components, that is called the biotic components, non-living components, abiotic components. Living components is called the biotic components. Living components or biotic components. Biotic components. Non-living components, non-living components or abiotic components. Living components or biotic components and non-living components or abiotic components. And living components consist of plants, animals, including humans, and microorganisms also. Microorganisms also. Living components include plants, animals, humans, and decomposers, microorganisms also. And plants, particularly green plants which produce their own food, are called the producers. What are the producers? Green plants which produce their own food, they are called the producers. And animals feeds on plants directly or indirectly, and therefore may be herbivorous, carnivorous, or omnivorous, both plants and animals eaters. And in addition, there is another category of living organisms, that is the which derive their food from dead and decaying plants and animals, and these are called the decomposers, as they decompose the dead organic matter. And microorganisms like bacteria and fungi act as decomposers. So till here you will take a revision.